I think it's Project 2025 is what he's following, like almost to a T.
Sure.
Even the tariff stuff.
Holy, that is so crazy.
Please look at the poster. Hands off NATO. Big protests aren't really my thing anymore. Although I think they're good, fine. But it's so funny that today's hands off NATO, but not hands off Gaza. What the fuck? Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, our jobs, our wallets, our bodies, fair elections, personal data, public lands, veteran services, cancer research, NATO. Hands off NATO. We must stop Trump and Musk's illegal billionaire power grab. We must stop them from undermining and dismantling America's protection racket that ironically, literally, hands off more. You know what's really funny when you say hands off NATO while simultaneously saying hands off for Medicare, Medicaid? It's like, dude, that program in and of itself is a direct lifeline to the military-industrial complex, which is where all of our expenditure goes towards instead of the other things that you're worried about. Half the reason why they got these fucking programs is because they want to melt the poor so they can become more loyal subjects, more vulnerable servants that will then become property of the state, the Defense Department. But the other thing is they gut those programs and then they spend all the money instead on fucking R&D for weapons and like new ways of figuring out baby murder machines. And then we have to send those weapons somewhere. Someone has to purchase those weapons. How do we create that endless appetite for death and destruction? How do we create that endless appetite from all of our valuable allies? Well, we have NATO. That's how it works. And it's so goddamn stupid that these guys don't understand it. It's very, very frustrating. This right here is directly at odds with half of the other things on here. Hands off our libraries.
I think they all are beautiful, and I love all of them. You ever talk about Curtis Yarvin?
Not really. I feel like he's such an ugly little creature that I feel... I just, every time I see him on screen, I'm like, oh, gross. Like, I just click away. I can't deal with it.
Okay.
Why?
No, I was just thinking about him.
You think about him a lot?
I mean, now, like...
Do you find him attractive?
I think he's hot in his own way, but...
Yeah.
But, no, I don't know. Do you think what's happening now with the stock market?
Do you think he wanted it? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying, do you think that this is, like, all part of kind of the plan in terms of a further consolidation of wealth in a smaller and smaller groups of people's hands? Like, right? Like... You're talking about like petty millionaires. Fuck those people. Who cares? Like the super rich, the billionaires and everything. Like
oh yeah. You like people with with actual wealth to be able to consolidate more wealth when at a much more reasonable price point is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like undermining the stock market deliberately so that the super wealthy can go in
simultaneously with tax cuts on rich people, so that they have more money to buy up.
Yeah, I mean I see that as a constant under capitalism. I don't think that it's like, I see that as like something that's going to happen regardless.
But
so I don't know if it's a deliberate attempt to do a fire sale on assets for. But
I feel like we're in I think it's something new that's happening right now. Like I think.
Oh yeah.
I think this is the new stage, right? Like some people call it like techno feudalism.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Shouts out the Giannis.
Yes. He is. That's a great book. But it feels like a new stage. I don't know. And I feel like guys like Curtis Yarvin and Peter Thiel and these other guys are kind of a little bit behind the scenes on it. You know, we mostly just see Musk and Trump and all. I don't know. Whatever.
No. I know you're not wrong. Curtis Yarvin has a well-defined worldview and a method in which he wants to bring about this like weird, almost monarchist structure.
Right.
And he is like the billionaires, like the Peter Thiels of the world, are very much on board with this. They think he's brilliant. Mm-hmm. They find his strategy to be brilliant, and they want to do that. And I think that they get to have a piece. They're not a senior partner in the coalition. But they're definitely a junior partner in the coalition in the way that like Bernie was with Biden, right? Where maybe with a lot more influence because their goals align. So they're just making the most of the situation. But I don't necessarily think that like Trump is completely in the pocket of these guys to this degree where he's just like, what do you want? He's like getting Curtis Yarvin's guys to go up to him and give him like secret notes. I think it's Project 2025 is what he's following, like almost to a T.
Sure. Even
the tariff stuff. If you look at, we looked at the Project 2025 tariff stuff, and basically everything that they are, all of their resentment, all their gripes that they talk about in Project 2025 is demonstrated by Trump. And the other side of the story is the World Trade Organization and specifically favored nations benefits that China gets, that lock any kind of tariff strategy against China with every other country that America trades with, or every other country that like Western nations trade with, that limits America's opportunity to decouple from China. And I think that's one thing that they want to undermine. They want to undermine the World Trade Organization and rebuild a new one, because this one, you know, China was able to work with. And that's something that Donald Trump has talked about. That's something that I think the Heritage Foundation definitely wants to restructure. They openly write about it in Project 2025, and I think tariffs play a role in that. It's not necessarily like an asset sale for as cheap.
I feel like it's just like an added. I mean, it's an added.
Yeah, it's added value more so. Yeah, like they're making the most of that situation. But I do think that the reason why he's doing the tariffs is obviously not to beef up American manufacturing. We don't have the fucking infrastructure to even beef up American manufacturing on our own. I think he's doing that to try and desperately restructure global trade and move away from China as a manufacturing hub, and the secondary manufacturing hubs that China has created in like Vietnam and whatnot over time to avoid sanctions, and to also because they've developed too much. So yeah, that's what I think. And you want to know something really funny about that? Do you want to know who the first president was? Or not the first president, but you know who Donald Trump actually followed the agenda of so thoroughly when it comes to the World Trade Organization and the tariffs and NATO? Barack Obama. Barack Obama was originally, Barack Obama is like, when we start pivoting to the Indo-Pacific and we start pivoting to like more heavily focusing on Chinese development and trying to undermine it to the best of our ability. Barack Obama did the apology tour, if you remember, when he went to like, you know, Japan. Didn't really apologize for anything, but like everyone said he apologized. What the hell are you doing? Like all of that stuff was done with a sinister purpose in mind. The goal was to restructure alliances in that area and basically apply pressure to China that was growing as a manufacturing hub and growing in a lot of its soft power initiatives. Barack Obama also started the undermining of the World Trade Organization, refusing to send judges to the World Trade Organization, and basically removing them of any sort of mediator capabilities that they might have had in global trade. And Donald Trump totally followed through on that, and so did Biden, and so did Donald Trump too in his second term, and the
Trump too.
Yeah, Trump 1 and Trump 2 identical in that process. Same thing with NATO. Obama was the one who originally wanted NATO countries to increase their GDP expenditures on NATO, on their own self-defense, by purchasing American weapons, of course. That was Bardock no bummer that initially started that process. Mm-hmm. So it was really funny when like liberal media would cover that, like, Trump doing that as a totally separate thing, because he kept saying, I'm going to undermine NATO, you need to pay more. Ironically enough, he was doing what Barack Obama wanted to implement initially.
Did you see Obama's thing that he said recently?
Yeah, he was talking about he was talking about how like I think he wrote a piece as well.
Yeah.
Where he said, like, if I were to do this, people would freak out or something. Isn't that what he said?
Yeah.
It's like, why didn't you do it?
Well, I think he's jealous.
No, he's such a fucking asshole, dude. Obama's such a fucking asshole. Yeah, Obama, especially in 2008, unlike Donald Trump, did have the mandate. He did have the popular mandate, and he had the supermajority as well. And he didn't do what Trump is doing, and he should have done what Trump is doing, especially because the economy was at its lowest point at that, in that regard. He had the opportunity to greatly restructure the American economy and do everything he wanted to do, and he did not do it. All right, we should head out. We should head over there now.
You feel rested, Marsh?
I feel so much better.
I feel so bad for Marge. At least I got like 2 hours of shut eye when I first
I'm ready.
got it. Is it cold out?
This is the best.
No, it's gonna be warm.
Yeah, this is the best naps are only like 20, 30 minutes.
Who says that?
Science. The scientists.
Marsh was also talking a big game about how
Here, come up.
he's Mr. Raver, so he doesn't even need this stuff. He doesn't need to.
You worded that so poorly.
He doesn't need this whole
Mr.
sleeping shit.
Raver.
Okay, let's do this.
All right, we got mics. Oh yeah, you gotta set this shit up still. Here are the mics.
Perfect.
And then I will bring this bag as well. I guess we'll put some stuff in it.
Yeah, there's a shotgun in there.
Where's the shotgun? It's not in there.
It's in my bag.
All right.
Damn, we got 2 more minutes.
But yeah, I'm gonna do that. Hold on.
Fucking job.
The fuck?
What?
Someone just texted me, farting motherfucker.
Nice. They know what you're up to. They know what you've been getting up to over here.
God damn, dude. Holy shit.